Foods in California has failed an investigation when it comes to pricing. Apparently, they have been overpricing some of their merchandise and some of their food. And as a result, they have to pay an insane fine. It's a whopping fine of $800,000. Now, to give you a sense of what they did, state and local inspectors discovered that purchased foods weighed less than the label advertised, and the weight of salad bar containers weren't subtracted at checkout. And also, the grocer sold prepared foods like kebabs by the item rather than by the pound, which is mandated by law.
Really?
So, yeah, so that is obviously a big issue. They did the investigation. They found that Whole Foods has failed. And, you know, look, it's $800,000. It's not that big of a deal. But the point that I would like to make about this is, for all those people who think that government agencies are a waste of time and we shouldn't regulate private industry in any way, shape, or form, we should allow the free market to decide and all that. I mean, this is why you have consumer protection, right? You have people making sure that these companies don't screw you over. This is a perfect example of the government looking out for us, and I love it.
Yeah. So, look, they didn't need to do any of this. We all already know Whole Foods is overpriced. Okay, and I know the owner of Whole Foods is a libertarian douchebag.
Yeah, John Mackey.
Right,
Yes.
and we'll get to him in a second. But I eat at Whole Foods anyway. I like the food, and I know I'm paying too much, right? So charge a little extra, but don't cheat. Like, it's so needless to cheat, right? Yeah. At first, I thought that their story was going to, you know, when I read the headline in the first paragraph, was going to be like, oh, they overcharge. And then I was like, what business is it of ours if they overcharge? If you buy it, right? But no, you can't cheat. You can't say there's a pound and there isn't a pound in there. That's lying, right?
They don't want to raise the cost of a pound because they're scared they're going to scare off like the richest people in the country. I don't know. I mean, we're talking about like a Santa Monica Whole Foods. I think they're still going to eat your food.
Right.
But they're scared of it.
Scam? Why would they risk the scam?
It's because greed. There's no end to it.
Greed.
There's no end to it, man. I mean, look, they're not measuring the containers. Dude, come on, man.
No.
Just measure the containers like you're supposed to do by law. But they get more. You already charge a lot. It's okay. Everybody's bought into it. But they can't. They can't help themselves.
Who gets this $800,000?
The government gets it. That's the thing. Like, the people who shopped at Whole Foods don't get it. Yeah.
Including us, by the way, because we're talking about this area's Whole Foods.
Yeah. No, like I said, I eat at Whole Foods, so I got screwed there too. I mean, it's for an individual, it's not that much money, it's not that big a deal, but when you do it in mass, then you're gonna make a lot of money from it. It seems like, well, what difference does it make? A little here, a little there. Well, that adds up for Whole Foods. That's how they make all that money, right?
Yeah.
So
John Mackey, who is the CEO of Whole Foods, is very much opposed to Obama, very much opposed to any type of regulation that impacts private industry. And probably the probable reason why is because he's doing shit like this, right? Yeah. He doesn't want the government to come down on him and tell him, hey, you know what, you can't rip off your consumers. But I do want to read a quote that he gave NPR earlier about the Affordable Care Act. And it kind of emphasizes his disdain for Obama. He says the following. Of the Affordable Care Act, he says, it's more like fascism. In fascism, the government doesn't own the means of production, but they do control it. And that's what's happening with our healthcare programs and these reforms.
Yeah. So that's the exact opposite. And so that he's frustrating. And look, there's a ton of things that we agree with libertarians on. You know, get out of our lives, get out of the wars, etc. But this is why I think libertarians are wrong, and it's in a perfectly fine debate. But okay, if there's no regulation at all, then yeah, not only can they say, oh, it's a pound, but it's actually 3/4 of a pound or half a pound or whatever it is, right? Then they could also put stuff in your food that could make you sick. I mean, that's Food and Drug Administration. You really don't want the Food and Drug Administration? And they say, oh, no, the market will correct itself. Yeah, after your kid dies from eating the poison in the food, then the market will correct itself, but then your kid's already dead, right?
Only if everyone else knows that your kid died because of salmonella and stopped shopping there.
Right.
And also in cases like this, the consumer doesn't know. Like, you don't know that they're also weighing the container along with the food, which they're not supposed to do. Like, consumers aren't given perfect information at all times. So it's very difficult for the market to decide when we have miscommunication and we have a lack of information in some cases.
But there are literally people who literally think that. that they will literally say this on Fox Business, because I watch. They'll say that the market will regulate that. Why would a company, John Stossel will tell you, why you don't need the Food and Drug. They're not going to make a drug that kills people. They're going to go out of business. So they would. This is literally how that's like a joke that we would say, but that's literally how they think, Cenk.
Yeah, and Anna makes a great point there too, because they'll say, well, look, now we know about Whole Foods, so the market will regulate and less people will shop at Whole Foods. But why do you know about Whole Foods? Because the government did an investigation. It's not like Whole Foods was going to do an investigation by itself. It's not like Ralph's, which is another grocery store out here in the West, was going to go, hold on, I'm going to go regulate on Whole Foods. They don't have access to Whole Foods. And the whole idea that the companies would regulate themselves, is anyone still stupid, naive, foolish enough to believe that? You think that Mackey was going to turn himself in if the government hadn't caught him? But you know what? I've been cheating the whole time. So my bad, my bad. You know what? Here's $800,000. Here's the profit I made off of that bag, and I'll correct it on my own. On which planet? Come on. I mean, the funny thing is libertarians at that point sound like communists. Like, no, we'll all hold hands and sing Kumbaya, and John Mackey will do the right thing because he doesn't care about profits. Really? Really? No, come on, nobody can believe that.